SVP app today on Roku, Apple, and Fire TV. Watch us. You know why?
We're gonna make you fall in love with SVP TV.
Tune in to Talking Law with Attorney Daryl O'Neill and the special guest host, Attorney Jerome Payne. Live TV talk on your digital device on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. Download the SVP TV app right now. Check us out every Tuesday on Comcast Cable, Channel 17, 8:30 p.m. And we are live every Friday on Facebook Live, 6 o'clock in the evening. You've got a question, our attorneys have the answer. So let's talk law with Attorney Daryl O'Neill on the SVP TV network.
Welcome to Talking Law with Daryl O'Neill. I'm your host. I got my main man, Jerome, with
What's
me.
up, Daryl?
Man, I know my title now, man.
Yeah.
Last week, I messed it all up.
Oh, yeah. You know who you are now.
I know who I am now. I didn't know who I was last
Hey,
time.
man. But you've been gone for a minute
Man,
still, though, right?
Yeah, it took me a minute.
You back in the saddle.
Back in
now,
the
Daryl.
saddle.
Yes, sir.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to the show today. If you have Facebook Live, you can watch us. You have YouTube Live, you can watch us. If you got Fire Stick, Apple TV, Roku, or the SVP TV network app, you can watch us live and ask questions. And look, today's show, we're going to actually start off with a question. But let me give out a shout out.
Yes.
So we got to say welcome to the great state of California. Man, my son is living a dream out there.
And they getting ready to face a hurricane or something out there.
They got some stuff getting ready to start out there. But he don't care.
All right.
Oh, welcome to Little
He's
Rock.
on the beach despite
He's
it.
on the beach despite.
Oh, my God.
Welcome to
Yes.
Little Rock, Arkansas. Welcome to West Memphis, Arkansas. Welcome to Memphis, Shelby County, Tennessee. Welcome to the Mississippi. And Mom, as always, welcome to the great state of Missouri.
Oh, yeah.
So, Jerome, I want to start the show off with not with a specific topic.
Okay.
I want to start the show off with answering a question.
Okay, I like that because that's what we're here for.
That's
is
what
to
we are
answer
here for.
questions. Yeah.
So, a caller called in, sent a question in, and the caller, if I mess this question up or if you want to add more to it, hopefully you're watching. If I mess this question up, you want to add more to it, or the facts don't make sense, feel free to call in. We still won't give any specificity,
Okay.
but we'll answer the question, try to
Okay.
make sure we get it clean.
Okay.
So the question is, my son's mother took my 10-year-old son to Houston, where he currently is living with her. I never gave my consent, and she has enrolled him in school. She then returned back to Memphis and living like she hasn't done anything wrong. I wasn't properly notified within 60 days as the law requires. I'm not certain I agree with that,
Yeah.
but that's another issue. Mm-hmm. I was never married to my son's mom. My son's mom has been living with me since he was born. My name is on the birth certificate. The court order for the child support was dismissed 5 years ago. There is no court order for visitation. What is my rights as a father to get my son back to Memphis immediately and seeking full custody? So that's the question.
That's a loaded one, too.
Man, that's a
and-
loaded question.
Yeah, all kinds of issues in there.
In Houston, and the caller also, when the question says that she's back here acting like nothing ever happened, she must in fact have left the son in Houston with her mother, is what I just gathered from this question. So let's start off with the first simplest one, John.
Okay.
The grandmother in Houston that has the child. The father's rights are always going to be superior to that
For
grandmother.
sure.
So that grandmother, if the mom is here and he is here, without a doubt, he would be able to get that child to get back into Tennessee, because his rights are 10 times, not 10 times, 1,000 times superior to the grandmother or the mother.
Exactly right.
Now, here's where we start getting a little weirded out. First thing he says is that he was never married. His name is on the birth certificate. At one point, the mother and the son were living with him. Then the mother took the child to Houston and didn't give them notice. Okay, so what are your rights?
One thing I see there, and it's pretty obvious that she's trying to gain residency
Yeah.
in the place that she took the child.
Right.
That's why she's enrolling in school, and so that she can ultimately gain total custody of the
Right,
child.
right.
So that's what you have to do. You have to establish residency for more than 180 days, right? And so it looks like that's what she's planning to do. So I believe also that maybe it's time to get the authorities involved.
Yeah, so the residency issue, now when we're talking about residency, we're only talking about residency, we're only talking about the law in Tennessee. In Tennessee, in order to have, for the court to have jurisdiction over an individual, a child, or a marital situation, you have to have been a resident in Tennessee for 180 days.
That's right.
So the question is, what is that residency required in Texas? Now, one of the things that the caller says that is perplexing and it's bad, it's not good. He says that, you know, I get from his statement that he doesn't pay child support. And 5 years ago, at some point he was paying child support, but 5 years ago, he stopped paying child support because I'm assuming that if everything is 50-50, because I know the child support is basically based off of two things. Number one, the amount of wages somebody makes together.
Right.
And then number two, who has the time.
Right.
The most amount of time.
Right.
And I think if it's 50-50, there's an argument that nobody has to pay child support.
Right.
Maybe I'm wrong on that.
Well, and also there's another thing too, is that they agreed, since the mother and child lived with him, that there was no reason to have to pay
I
child support.
do not agree with that.
Really?
They can agree,
That's what I'm saying. They agreed to it.
but that is not legal.
But you're absolutely right, because there's a
There's a-
case that came down and
That's
said
right.
it's the child's.
It ain't
support.
hers to
Right.
it ain't hers to relieve.
You're absolutely right.
So the law specifically says,
You're absolutely
I
right.
think,
Yeah.
again, now, caller, I just want you to know, this is not my area of expertise.
And it's not mine either.
But I have stumbled into these arenas, and you know I do know the law in them. I lie to people and tell them I don't know anything. But Jerome, of course, you know I'm lying. But the law on this area is that you can't waive child support. Neither parent has the right to waive child support because it's the child's. Okay, basically a child is, you know, for lack of a better word, is a tenant or a partner in a relationship, but they can't afford their share of the rent. They can't afford their share of the income. I mean, of the utilities. They can't afford their share of the food. So what happens is child support pays their share.
Right.
If there is a 50-50, then that means that the child doesn't have a share. There's an argument that the child may not have a share.
Okay.
Yeah, y'all can agree to not pay or not owe child support, but if it goes back to the court system, the court is not going to go that route.
But there, remember now too, we plainly heard in the fact pattern that child support was dismissed by a court.
Correct.
So the court determined at that time it was not necessary to pay support.
Absolutely.
All right. So.
And that dismissal was based off of, that's what I was saying.
Right.
The dismissal was based off of because what happens
agree.
is,
Yeah.
whatever the income is, the court put it in a pot.
Right.
And then what the court will say is, okay, now there's income in a pot.
Right.
What happens is, depending on how many days the child stays with one parent or the other, depends on how much child support has to be paid.
Agreed.
But if the child stays 50-50 with both parents,
Right.
then neither one of them have to pay anything.
Agreed.
And then that may have been why the child support was dismissed.
Agreed.
That's what I was thinking.
And then also too, it sounds to me.
I can always phone a friend. I can call Juliet or somebody.
Or Teresa.
Or Teresa.
Oh, yeah.
Phone a friend.
Right. but also too, the fact that the mom may be in trouble for removing the child out of this jurisdiction.
Oh, no, not me. Mom is in trouble.
Okay.
Mom's got an issue.
Okay.
So here's what your rights are. You cannot abscond. You cannot just up and leave and disappear with a child out of the jurisdiction without two things. Number one, permission of the both parents.
That's right.
That's number one.
Right.
But even more importantly than that, number two is you got to have the permission of the court.
No question about it. Because the child is a part of the court system based on the fact that someone had to be determined as custodian.
Correct.
And someone, whomever that is, has the right to determine the locality of the child. And so it's like a court order has been violated.
Right. Yeah. So I think that mom, I don't know about this 60-day nonsense, so let's not go down there. I think the rule is...
What's 60 days?
Well, he said in there, or the person, I think it was he said in there that the law says he has to get 60 days notice.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. That's like some made-up stuff.
I don't know nothing about none of that, you know.
But
you got to get notice, though.
But whatever happens needs to happen quickly.
Yes.
Before some other court has jurisdiction and will not release it back to Tennessee.
Yeah. So there's a rule, you know, when we take somebody to mediation, we go to mediation. We say mediation is as good as it gets, because you get to set the tone, you get to set what the terms are going to be, you get to just put everything in place. He said, and one of the things he said in there, what do I need to do so I can get full custody of my son?
Oh.
This is as good as it gets.
Right.
Mom has made a detrimental mistake. Normally, a father would not get a child over a mother.
Depending on the age.
It depends on two circumstances.
If they're older than 12 years old,
12 or 13,
something like that, then they have
the child has a voice.
Has a voice in there,
right.
Yeah.
But normally, if that kid is less than 12 or 13,
right,
there's only two ways that a father would normally get a child from a mother. Number one is the mother has been dependent and neglected.
That's right.
She's done something. Oh man, I'm sorry.
That may be the call. Call you on your
Nah,
personal. That's work, huh?
Liz, I'm on the air. You got a legal question you asking?
You on air? Yeah. Well, it's about my medical leave about my mother. That's a legal question.
It is a medical question.
It's a legal question. It's a denied question. It's a start over question. They did two different things. I talk crazy on air. Please don't put me on air.
You're already on the air.
That's what he's trying to do, trying to restrict your crazy talk.
Hey, you're already on the air.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, so, let me finish the. I will answer. You watching the show, Liz?
No, I'm not.
I was gonna say, I'll give you your answer in a minute. I got to finish this last question, and I'll answer your question.
Sure. Yeah.
But don't put me on. I don't want. Okay.
You're already on now. It's too late now. You're already on.
I'm choked up.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll answer your question.
Good evening.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Okay. So, reason why, again, normally you're only going to have really two chances here.
That's right.
Number one is that dependent and neglect. If the kid is underage. The second thing that other opportunity that you're gonna have is the mother has done something that is a clearly attempt to circumvent the system. Because the court will have an issue with it.
I agree. Yeah.
And what she has done now by trying to take the child to Houston or Texas,
right,
and then even add more insult to injury, she's back in Tennessee, and the damn child is still in Texas.
That she's trying to punish the
dad,
using the child as a ploy. Right.
So those are the type. So this is as good as it gets.
That's exactly right.
Because the court will be annoyed that now she's trying to, take your ability to see your child.
That's right.
And even if you were a deadbeat dad, and I'm not suggesting that you are, even if you were, the laws for for child custody allows you to get at least a weekend a month.
That's right.
And 2 weeks during summer
During the
holiday.
summer, yes.
During summer.
Yes.
And then it allows you to get a Christmas.
That's right.
Or Thanksgiving, a holiday.
That's right.
These are what the law. That's the bare minimum.
Right.
Again, I don't know this stuff.
That's
and
the parenting plan, right?
That's the
That's the parenting
parenting plan.
plan, right.
The parenting plan.
Right.
If you're the non-custodial parent,
That's right.
you will get at least a weekend a month.
Right.
At least, maybe more.
Yeah.
You will always get at least a couple of weeks during the summer vacation.
That's right.
You will always at least get a holiday. Christmas, Thanksgiving, and every other birthday.
And maybe Father's Day or something too. And
You gonna get those are gonna be the minimum things.
That's right.
So when she takes your child from you and deny you those rights without a court order saying that you are not entitled to those rights, because the court can take them from you.
Right.
But she can't.
And then she abandoned the child.
And then to add insult to injury,
Right.
she leaves your child
Right.
in Texas with her mother without your permission.
That's right.
If I was you,
Bad.
man, they would hate me.
Right.
Because if it was me, I'm gonna drive to Houston, Texas, where the mama at, and I'm gonna go knock on the door and say, "Mama, I want my son."
Well, I believe you can do just
I
that.
know he can do that.
Yeah.
And if Mama called the police, I'm gonna say, "Mama," I'm gonna say, "Police,
Well,
that's my son."
I think I would first go to the police department.
I wouldn't go there.
You wouldn't go there first?
Because I wouldn't give her a chance to open the door.
Because remember, the issue is creating a disturbance. Because if you go over there to get the child and a disturbance breaks out, it could have been avoided by having the police with you.
But the disturbance, no, see, they're not gonna get in the middle of a civil dispute.
It's pretty clear that she took him out of the jurisdiction.
Right. But,
right?
but yeah, and they're not gonna get in the middle of that.
Right.
But what they're gonna get in the middle of it is if he knocks on the door and says, "I want my son," and she says no, all he does is stand. Now you want to keep your cell phone rolling. You better have something rolling. Have somebody videotaping so we'll know that you ain't done nothing wrong.
That's exactly right.
But then when she says no, then you want to call 911 and just sit there. And when the police get there, now you need to make sure you have some proof that you are his father, you are who you are, and she ain't his mother. And she's not a custodial caregiver. And say, "I want my son." There's no court order. She's taking my son from Tennessee without my permission.
But I see all kinds.
Oh, it's gonna be some
I
problem.
see all kinds of
Dog,
issues.
it's gonna be, man, it's gonna be on like Donkey Kong.
Right.
I mean, it's gonna be on now. I mean, but again, I mean, I'm just talking about me, dog.
But that's the
I
way
just
to
think-
approach it is to. My thought is to get the authorities involved from the very beginning. Because that gives some authoritation going on rather than.
But if you don't want to do it like.
Because they may not even get along. The mom and he probably get along, so she's probably going to be raising sand as soon as he comes to the door.
That's why I'm all like this.
Okay, I got you.
That's why I'm like this, you know. I got my video on my phone. That's why I'm doing that. I mean, I'm not. I ain't gonna be stupid.
Right.
But I think that's the aggressive way of doing it.
Right.
But Jerome, there's a smarter way of doing
Right.
it. I would spend the money. You can't be cheap today on this. If you can't be cheap, I would hire me a lawyer. I would spend the money and get me an emergency
There you go.
injunction.
Now.
And I would take that injunction with me to Texas. And you can get that done right now.
That'll solve all the issues. That
I
we
mean,
talked
you can
about.
go get that filed like right now.
Yeah.
Now it's gonna cost you
Right.
right now, because that's what I would. That's the smart way of.
That's
doing
right.
it. Now, what I just told you earlier, that's the aggressive way of doing it.
That's the brothers.
That's
what brothers do.
That's what us do. That's the us way of doing it. Yeah. And that's
It's the cheaper way,
It's
but,
the cheaper
but
way.
remember, you get what you pay for.
You know what? You know what?
So if you don't do it correctly,
Yeah.
you could wind up with a whole lot.
Yeah, and Jerome hit it on the head.
Yeah.
You get what you pay for. So if you ain't paid for nothing, you may not get. Hey, look. With the exception of few people, I'm not certain I would put my trust into the police department.
Well, of course, and see that's the issue.
Yeah.
Because whenever we have issues with confronting police department and African American males,
Yeah.
it's potentially explosive.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, caller, welcome to Talking Law with Daryl O'Neill. How can I help you? Oh, hold on a second. Let me get my head out my butt here real quick. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm the one that's sent in the question about my son with being in Texas.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I was wanting to clear up a couple of things. The child support order, there was never a child support order because she didn't want it. So, and the reason why she took it to Texas, I ended the relationship, and it's just like I'm dealing with a scorned woman, I guess, basically. But on the behalf of my son, I'm just trying to see how can I go back getting him from Texas and bringing him back to Memphis and enrolling him back in school because she's back here and still working her job and everything.
Yeah.
So I don't, and I was wanting to go ahead and just fly out and go get him, and then some people saying it's kidnapped, but I said no. So I went to juvenile court. They advised me of the 60-day rule. They was the one that told me about, I have to be properly notified by mail within 60 days if there was any potential move. So juvenile court told me that.
Yeah,
And,
they're not lawyers.
Right.
They're not lawyers.
That's true.
Okay, so don't go with. Okay, let me just tell you this. And you missed this. But we just talked about this. So okay, there's a cheap way, and there's a more expensive way. And I'm going to tell you this off the top. I think the more expensive way is the way to go.
Yes.
And what that is this. You would probably need to hire a lawyer, explain your fact scenario to the lawyer, get an emergency injunction or an emergency restraining order issued by that court, and then you can take that down to Texas and get your son.
That's right. Have your paperwork in hand.
And you have your paperwork in hand and get your son.
Yeah.
Now, here's the other, you missed this part. You can't agree not to pay child support. That's not the law. She can't agree not to accept it. It ain't hers to give. It's the child's. The law says that child support is owned and earned and entitled, and the child is entitled to it. Period. End of discussion. Now, we always know that the custodial parent uses the child support for whatever they want to, but that doesn't really matter.
Right.
The law is that child support cannot be waived. So
well, we went before a judge, and the judge dismissed it because he was going to give her child support, but she said she didn't want it. So he basically said, you can't never come back to the courts and try to petition me for child support.
Okay. I don't know what judge
she didn't want it. She didn't want it.
I don't know what judge that
We went
is.
before the judge in juvenile court for child support.
Yeah, see, you in juvenile court. That's the again. Anyway, I don't like juvenile court. But there's real courts, okay? There's real courts out there. There's real courts out there, okay? And let me just tell you, when you get into the big boy courthouse, that ain't gonna fly. I'm telling you, I don't care what juvenile courts say. There's case law out there that say you can't waive child support. It's just out there. I mean, there was a case that came down there like last year, wasn't it?
Well, I thought it was a little bit older than
Well,
last year.
there is a one way
about
old.
the doctors and the
That's about 5 years old.
Okay, about the doctor.
Yeah, I actually read that case.
Yeah.
I think we talked about that case
we
one
talked
time.
about it before, yeah.
Yeah, there was one, the doctor, let me tell you the fact scenario on this one, sir. This case right here, there was a husband, wife, I don't know, lover, ex, whatever.
Right.
What ended up happening is the doctor was the real daddy of this child.
Right.
But he was raised, and this other man had been paying child support for him for all of his life. Finds out that the doctor is the real daddy. And so he sued real daddy for child support. And the court said that real daddy had to pay child support for 18 years, back child support. So even though he didn't know, even though stepdaddy was paying all the bills, the court didn't matter, and the mom agreed that he didn't have to pay child support.
Right. They had a written agreement.
They had a written agreement
Right.
that he didn't pay child support,
Right.
and the court said,
No.
I don't care.
Right.
When you get to big boy court, again, when juvenile, look, the juvenile judges and all these other places are going to have issue with it.
They'll hold it. You have to be careful.
All right, okay, all right,
You
all right.
can't, you can't
I can't call it
disparage. You can't disparage.
I'm not disparaging them.
I'm just saying,
I'm
call
just
them
trying to
juvenile-
just see how can I
No, I
keep
said
it
big
going.
boy court.
Well,
No, man, so you got a courts of record, though.
but you're putting shadow. You
Okay,
putting
okay.
Shadow on them.
All right, well, I don't want to put no
one
shadow.
of the systems.
Well,
But you're
when-
right. There's a court of record. Just talk about that.
Yeah,
There's a
now,
court of record and
but
not a
when you
court of
got the
record.
clerk telling you something,
Right.
that ain't the court.
I agree.
And it
I
ain't the
agree with
law,
that. I
and
agree.
they're not lawyers.
I agree with that.
Okay?
Yeah.
But the rules are the rules.
Right.
And what ends up happening is, so let me clean this up. What ends up happening is, juvenile court does things a little different than other courts.
And they're a magistrate.
And they're magistrate driven.
and not really
And they're
the
magistrate
elected
driven.
judges. Yeah.
And they're not normally elected judges.
That's right.
And because of that, they're appointed most of the time.
That most of the time.
Most
yeah.
of the time, the
and it
juvenile-
depends on whomever the
And it depends on who
judge
the magistrate-
is.
Yeah. And again, and that magistrate may have said that, and that magistrate may have believed that.
That's
But if you get over to circuit court or chancery court,
there you go.
I think that you may find out that the rules don't go that way.
Right, I agree with that.
You know,
Yeah.
so so you be careful, because Pandora's box can be big.
But the bottom line is,
But the bottom line is you want to get your kid, you want your child back,
Right. And then you
you're
do
gonna
that.
you,
And I was just trying to see can I just up and go there and get him and bring him back?
That's-
You know,
that's not
since
smart.
he's my son.
I-
He's down there with his grandmother.
what's your proof
She's
that what's the
just-
proof that he's your son?
You said what now?
What is the proof that he's your son?
Well, my name is on his birth certificate, and I mean, that's,
Okay.
that's all I need.
Yeah, I think you're right on that.
Yeah.
So let me, because my colleague over here.
the court doesn't like this.
Isn't it?
I'll snatch the child, and
Yeah.
you go back and snatch the child. Court doesn't go back and
Yeah,
forth
see-
like that.
see-
You must have clean hands.
Yeah. So here's what you have to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So I gave you the Daryl O'Neal approach.
Yeah.
That is probably the wrong approach. Okay. It is the wrong approach. It's aggressive. It's over the top. It's probably what you were thinking. Just get on a plane, go
No.
to Texas, and get your son.
Not smart.
It's probably not smart, because now you're doing this tit for tat.
That-
So now let me be a lawyer instead of being this good old fabulous hood rat that I really am. So let me just tell you, it's not smart to do it that way. The smart way of doing it is to hire a lawyer. The smart way of doing it is to allow the lawyer to file the proper paperwork to get you for the court to obtain control over your son.
Exactly.
Before Texas gets control over him. The smart thing to do is, once you get a written order from the court, is to go down to Texas and take that order with you and go to the police department.
Exactly.
And then take that order and say that you want them to come with you.
Exactly.
Because you are in fear that the mother may try to do something to you. The
That's
mother-in-law may, or
Create a disturbance.
may create a disturbance,
yeah.
and you're scared of that.
That's right.
And I think that's the
Okay.
smart way.
That's right.
I think that's the smart way.
Okay,
That-
okay,
that's,
that makes sense.
I mean, you have a lot of, all this little technicality stuff that juvenile court ain't in this, man, because you ain't paying child support. Why do they got to give you 60-day notice? Because, the question is, are you truly in the system? Are you a part of the system? If you go down here and do what we're telling you, you're going to be in the system,
That's
a part
right.
of the system,
That's right.
and you will get this protection of the system.
That's right.
Okay.
That's what
I
I
get
think.
you.
We got
Okay.
any other questions we can answer for you?
No, you pretty much cleared it up that time. So I go along with just going ahead and seeking get me an attorney and go. from
Yeah,
there.
yes,
'Cause
sir.
I don't want to end up flying down there and then wasting money and not,
Cause-
be a bunch of mess and
Man, hey, jail ain't no waste place you want to be. And
Yeah.
again, you never know how somebody's gonna be able to manipulate the scenario.
That's right.
So you may get down there, and girl's mom may be smarter than you, dog. I don't know if she is or not, she not, but if you savvy enough, I can make it look bad for you.
Yeah.
So why would you put yourself through that?
That's right.
So do
Right.
it the
I
smart
got you.
way and just go ahead and, get your lawyer involved, spend that money, go into your rainy day fund, spend that money, and
Right.
make it happen.
And then probably have a permanent fix.
Yeah, and get a permanent plan.
Yeah.
You can get a permanent parent plan in
Yeah.
place. You can get a bunch of other stuff.
That's right.
You know, yeah, that's what I would do.
I would too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the smart thing.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, I thank you for that, and I'll go ahead and get the ball rolling on that part.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
And Daryl, you got to appreciate this caller.
I do.
Because the caller is saying, I have an issue.
Right.
I'm not sure how. And audience, we're talking to you too.
Right.
We don't like self-help remedies.
No, the court didn't like self-help remedies.
Well,
no, we don't like them either, but the court really don't like
But
self-help.
remember, we're officers of the court.
We
so
are
when I
officers.
say we, I'm speaking as an officer of the court.
Right.
We don't like self-help remedies.
Yeah.
So because there is the proper way to handle something, and then there's the street way of handling stuff. So that never works in our system.
No.
Right.
And that's why I say, I mean, I gave him the hood rat,
No,
you know,
that doesn't work
I
in
gave him
the
the Daryl O'Neal hood rat thing. And again, I mean, could that work possibly? Yeah, possibly. And would you have done anything wrong?
It could go wrong 1,000 ways.
But Jerome is absolutely correct. It could go wrong,
Man.
substantially wrong.
And plus, you're down there in Texas
Man,
with
they
that
don't know
governor
you.
down there.
Man, they don't know you.
Man, this guy.
Man, they don't. Man, they got jails. Like they say, everything bigger in Texas, the jails are too. So you don't want to be in the Texas jail system.
That's for sure.
So, but anyway, hey, next week what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about FMLA, the Family Medical Leave Act. Caller earlier was asking a question about the Family Medical
Okay.
Leave Act.
Okay.
Ran out of time on that issue.
Okay.
This issue became a really big issue,
Okay.
and hopefully we answered this caller's call, and hopefully, you know, he does some stuff to take care of himself.
I think that was a good way of dealing with that, and I'm proud of him.
No, you're supposed to be proud of me because I changed my backpedal.
I'm proud of this caller, and I'm proud of Mr. O'Neal. Daryl, this is your show.
All right, y'all. Hey, look, thank you for watching the show. Look, if you got questions, I mean, we gladly will take them through
Sure.
text, email, or whatever, and then we will answer them. But anyway, if you got questions or concerns, feel free to call us. Thank you for watching the show. We'll see you back next week.